Hello and welcome everybody to this week's Market Share, the short weekly segment brought to you by MKR, where we bring you all the noteworthy news and updates surrounding digital media and the world today. I'm your host Genevieve, and we've got some cool stories for you today, so let's get started. First up, let's talk about LinkedIn and some of their efforts to keep their users' feeds more relevant and productive. Obviously, conversations on all social media have changed since its conception, considering that those conversations are around events that are happening in society. With these changing conversations come changing preferences, and LinkedIn's trying to make sure that users can see exactly what they want on the platform, rather than having to work hard to find that content. They've put in place a number of new controls. They've provided more options for members to signal what they're interested in, such as the "I don't want to see this" button. And within this feature comes other options to see less content from a certain creator or a certain type of content. You can also choose if you want to see less political content in your feed. As far as what you can expect to see more of in your feed, you'll see more posts from your network so you can stay up to date with the people you care about most. And you'll see more news and insights from the people you want to learn from. In order to make way for these conversations you care about, LinkedIn is aiming to reduce low-quality content such as posts that ask or encourage the community to engage by liking or commenting. The platform will aim to keep conversations safer through the professional community policies, and they'll try to lessen the number of pesky polls you have to scroll past to find the content you actually want to see. All in all, LinkedIn wants to make using the platform a more enjoyable experience for all, so make sure you continue to give your feedback and check back in to see how your input can better change LinkedIn. Next up, let's talk about Instagram and the platform's goal of supporting creators and collectors of NFTs. With the creator economy growing each and every day, Instagram is tapping into yet another digital feature to help make Instagram a one-stop shop for creators, which now includes showcasing the NFTs they've created or collected. Creators have started using technologies like NFTs to seize control over their work, build their relationship with their fans, and find a new way to monetize, and Instagram wants in. Enter digital collectibles. Instagram's currently testing a way to connect a digital wallet to your profile that will showcase all of the NFTs that you've created and sold, so that your audience can see just what kind of art moves you. Once the NFT is posted, it will have a shimmer effect that can display public information like a description of the NFT, as well as the creator and collector of the digital collectible. NFTs will have their own section on your profile page, just like how you can view your regular grid, your reels, and your tagged posts. This may be yet another way for people to screenshot your beloved piece of art. But hey, who were we to judge if you want to show your passions to the world? Will this be a more niche, artsy crowd partaking? Or is it possible that big brands will find yet another way to make ridiculous amounts of money? I suppose we'll have to wait and see what findings Instagram comes across as they test this feature. Third up, podcast ad revenue surpassed $1 billion last year, so please feel free to give yourself a round of applause for contributing. A US podcast advertising revenue survey said that revenue jumped 72% last year to reach $1.4 billion. It's also forecasted to surpass 2 million by the end of 2022, and then more than 4 billion by 2024. Podcast ad revenue grew twice as much as total internet ad revenue in 2021, which makes sense since it's a newer ad format. As far as the industries involved in podcast ads, financial services and direct-to-consumer retailers were the big spenders, as well as arts, entertainment, and media companies. The brands from a large array of industries relegated to the other category, such as energy, tech, law, and sports, made up about a third of ad revenue. In terms of the podcast genre that drew the largest share of ad spending last year, news, comedy, and society were the big winners. Surprise, surprise. As far as the types of ads showcased on podcasts, the split between dynamically inserted and the baked-in ads have grown immensely between 2019 and 2021. It turns out that host-read ads are much more enjoyable to listeners. We always talk about sharing your authentic voice and having product placement promoted by personal experience rather than someone with an advertising voice telling you to buy things. Makes listeners more engaged and probably more likely to actually buy the product in question. Let's just remember that not all ad avenues will work for every company, but you should do some research into which industries are performing the best, and then get into the game during this podcast ad boom. For our last story today, let's talk about Coors Light and a new marketing activation that is guaranteed to leave you more chill than when it found you. A new Coors billboard campaign includes signs painted on top of Miami buildings in order to help cool them down. These Chillboards are painted with a white coating that has been proven to reflect 85% of sunlight. This special paint can lower the surface temperature of roofs by up to 50 degrees, which actually gives residents a way to lower utility costs. This effort to reach millennials is part of the company's commitment to creating a way to support the environment, and other environment-centric activations like their Future Mart, which showcase plastic-free products, supports this. Even though these Chillboards are only visible from the air, they display slogans such as "Coolest Ad in America" and "This roof chills up to 50 degrees," using a font that is designed to cover as much of the roof as possible. At chillboards.com, you can find out more about how to be one of the lucky and chill winners of 5,000 gallons of reflective white paint. The Chillboards are accompanied by a series of video ads from the Made to Chill campaign, which is aiming to help out with some sales as the market is flooded with low-carb alternatives. This is another example of an extremely clever activation that will encourage people to engage with the company and continue efforts to make the world a more sustainable and eco-friendly place. That's all for this week's Market Share. I'm your host, Genevieve, and I'll see you all next week. In order to make, this effort, what was that? I suppose we'll have to wait and see what findings Instagram comes across as they test this feature. We got through that whole paragraph.
I'm impressed.
Let's go. News, comedy, and society were the biggest, it's fine.